Well, it's been a while since we've looked at the cheaper end of things in the hobby, so much so that I reckon a lot has changed. So today I've got a bit of a variety pack for you. We've got the Huina 1551, which is a sub $100 plastic excavator. We've got this little fella, the antelope, rack antelope on the box, but rock antelope, whatever it is. 1/18 scale, and I thought, gee, that looks just like the baby Capra, you beauty. Let's see what it's like. Also under $100 Australian and around $50 US. And then I've got this little fella, which was $45. It's a C129 V2, not a new chopper, been around for a while. No free flying, it's only gyro flying, but she's really lightweight, and that was all of $45 Australian dollars, and it's even cheaper if you wait for a sale. So let's take a look at three very different models, related only because they're in this video. And the excavator is in particular interesting because, as you guys know, I'm really into crawling. We also do bashing, and so it's fitting really that an excavator video is one of my very best performing videos of all time. So I thought I'd include a cheaper one, and we'll see where things are at. Right, let's get to it. Now this is the UTV 18, Axial's 18 scale, so-called 18 scale crawler. This is the AX24, their 24 scale four-wheel steering, or 124 scale. Now this little fella has slightly longer wheelbase than the AX24, but it is, well, it's about as much an 18 scale as the UTV 18. So this is not a baby Capra as I'd hoped. I didn't read anything, I just bought it. But I thought we'd take a look. Now it's got a gigantic 370 motor in there, 9-gram axle on servo, apparently all metal gears all the way through. Same size drive shafts as what you'll find on the 24 scale stuff. These are metal Endura shafts, so it wouldn't be too hard to upgrade these. And if the diffs and the middle gears really are metal like it says on the box, which I've got no reason to doubt, well, I mean, that's not bad, is it? We'd be able to make our own links as well if we really wanted to get serious with this thing. The attraction is just the price. There's a big old lithium-ion battery that sits in the top there. It's charging right now, and an all-in-one receiver. 3-channel radio. It's got 3 different speed settings on it, which tells me that it might be geared kind of high. Channel reverse, endpoints, and your extra channel. Functional light bar on the top, and a couple of extra plugs here if you want to plug more stuff in. That light bar is plugged into one of the spare channels. So I thought, hey, that's interesting. Now, they're not beadlock wheels. They're just sitting on there. There are some foams in there. The tyres aren't too bad. They're not Endura soft, but they're not rock hard either. I think they will probably be okay, but they'll probably scrabble and struggle a bit. And looking at this thing, I think it might be a little rear heavy, especially once that battery goes in. It would be much better at the front. Still, let's give it a drive. That's the little charger. Very simple. It's got its balance plug, runs on little red JST, PH I think it's called. A little bit of hook and loop underneath. So, I've got 4 AA's in this cheap but 2.4 gig transmitter. These days it doesn't really matter if it's cheap or not, because they, as long as they're 2.4 gig, they're generally quite reliable. So, that's the equivalent of 2 AA's sitting in the back here, but with lithium. That's not great for weight, I can tell you that. Okay, now the price needs to be kept in mind here. I paid, I think, 86 Australian. The very first thing that stands out is it doesn't really have drag brake, and the steering is fairly atrocious. The ERC is also forward brake reverse, and being forward brake reverse, it's you really got to be ready with that trigger finger to brake the car if it starts to roll out of control. But those things notwithstanding, oh, and there's no oil in these little shocks, and I didn't see any O-rings either, but hey, that's already, oh no, did we not get that in frame? That's a shame. I didn't roll the first time, but I haven't been able to replicate it. What about speed? We're on the 3rd speed switch. Put it on the first one and the 3rd one. So not a huge difference, and the drag brake is not present pretty much the entire time. So there is a drag brake, but it really implements slowly. There are CVDs on the front axles, universals on the drive shafts, an absolutely relatively ginormous motor in that 270. That's certainly 118 scale type stuff, but the rest of it is roughly equivalent to 124. I mean, it's a bit bigger, but barely. Right, what about just general bashing around? More than adequate. Even thick stuff, eh? That's not bad. The rock antelope here is cheap. Is it cheap and cheerful? Yeah. Again, 85 Australian dollars I paid. That's a lot of car for your money. Could be better. Could be so much worse. Could be so much worse. Honestly, it's not bad. You might struggle to get it to crawl nicely if you're into crawling primarily, but if you're into just general fun, I mean, it certainly it ticks all the boxes that you would want it to tick. So I like it. I rate it, and this isn't terrible either. Not bad. Could use more steering. Could use more drag brake. It'll be compatible with a lot of the 124 scale upgrades. So for a cheapie, gosh. Yeah, it's not bad, is it? Right, let's do the chopper. Now, for pretty much exactly half the price of this fella, you can buy this guy. This is the C129 V2. I'm sure it's been done to death on YouTube channels. 1 key takeoff and landing, 6-axis gyro, 2.4 gig, modular replaceable battery, 4-channel, ready to fly, and 3D rollover. Basic, but I mean, what does basic mean these days? I'm about a decade out of touch with choppers. This is what greets you when you open it. Manual. Half of it is English. There you go, that's the English half. Tells you how to fly it. Chopper folds nicely array. Little coreless motor, 2 servos. You've got pitch in your servos, and you've got simply speed, so your angle of your blades doesn't change. Faster goes up, slower goes down. That's pretty much it. You've got a spare set of blades, spare tail rotor as well, USB charger, little LiPo battery. It comes with 1, 2, 3 or 4 depending on the pack, and your controller. Aforementioned 1 key takeoff and landing, slow response, medium and high response. It'll be low. There's your acrobatic setting there, and trim for your rotation and your pitch and yaw. Let's get it in the air. Modular battery, charges with USB, quite like that. So we're going to pop him in, lay it flat, hit the power, up, down, on, and I just saw a twitch from the motor. We're going to calibrate the gyro. So now here's your pitch and yaw. Nice, right? Okay. Let me just adjust the camera here. I hope this is on frame. Let's see here. I can't get it to tilt forward very far. That's my only contention. It turns around nicely. Look, for 40 bucks, 45 bucks Australian, that's blinking awesome, I reckon. Let's try this acrobatic thing. All right, so we're gonna tip the little switch up. Hang on. Just get out the, there's a bit of a wind coming up now, there we go. All right, acrobatic switch. There we go, there's forward. And it even does barrel rolls. Here, let me show you. Oh, there's kangaroos. Kangaroos down here. I'll show you barrel roll, you ready? Look at that. See if I can show you some roos. Yeah, on the bottom of the yard. I don't want to bother them too much, they're eating grass. You see them down there? We won't go too close to them. Come on, Craig, don't hassle the kangies. Look, I haven't flown a chopper in years. How can you complain about this for 45 bucks, man? I love it. It really is quite good. Seems to hold itself quite well as well. I'm having a great time. Lovely. It's quite controllable. I'm a fan. Now the other thing is, when you were tilting forward to go forward, unlike what choppers used to do, they'd used to lose altitude when you tilted them down. You'd need to, and you still do probably for some choppers, you've got to counteract that with more pitch on the blades, but these are fixed pitch, so the little computer in there is keeping the thing from dropping. See where I got the nose down? And it does this little burst at the end to keep itself in the air. I've got to tell you, this is a very impressive machine. What a brilliant little thing. Here's a busy little go. So that's top speed. I've been fanging around at top speed. Alright, see if we can catch it. There we go. Not bad at all, not bad at all. And now we come to the third model. This is the Huina 1551. It says professional RC diecast, but it's really not diecast. It's plastic. About the only diecast thing is this bucket, and well, that's the other downside. It's got fairly cheap gears. The 1580, you might remember, has linear actuators. These are actually functional on the 1580. On this guy, they're purely decoration. When you get it, you've got to attach the stick to the boom. And you see these gears here? That's that. And it's a reduction gear as well. The motor's down in there. There are two sets of gears in there. Same deal for down here. The motor for that is underneath. And there's one, I think it's this arm here on the stick. It's got a motor inside it. It's kind of like a servo action, but it clicks and grinds away too. This runs, unfortunately, on a big fat NiCad battery. 400 milliamp hour NiCad. No smoker in this guy. Again, we're talking about cheap models. Has a nice little rubbery exhaust on it. On switch is underneath. On. Obnoxiously loud. There we go. There's a sound on and off, and I'm going to keep the sound off so that we can see it running. Unlike the 1580, we've got to use the joysticks here to drive it. They're rubber tracks, so they work quite well inside. And unlike many of my larger stuff, this little fella is nowhere near strong enough to do much at all. Now we've got a turret here. We've got bucket, I think, was it? Yeah, buckets on this fella. We've got the stick on this guy. And the boom was up here, which is quite inconvenient. So the control schema kind of sucks. I wish it was here instead, but look, it's a toy. Oh, wrong way, Craig. Firstly, is it strong enough to pick itself up? Oh, barely. Move the stick out again. Nope, can't do that. So she's not particularly strong. Do it again. We're now with more leverage. Oh, there you go. So it can be done. But we're not talking about a strong model here. So this is going to be mostly playing with Lego and stuff like that. So unlike the 1580, for these cheaper ones, you're not really going to be able to take it outside and expect to actually dig stuff with it. And having to juggle between this triangle, these three things, just to make it do the digging, is a challenging exercise. God. We'll get there. There we go. Poor little digger. We're asking a lot of it here. So I'm trying to get this thing just to do that, and like this is loose. It's not even that tough. Come here where it's actually loose. We might have some better luck. I'm even going to drive it backwards to help. Goodness me. There we go. Oh, we're trying. There's so much slack in the system. I'm really giving it every chance possible here. Oh, finally. Come on. Oh, it can barely lift. Now let me just show you what we're barely lifting here. We are lifting 3 stones. So 3 stones is what we're trying to lift here. Like, that's nothing. This is therefore display purposes only. There you go, all 3 stones are out. So this guy's just for Lego, not even just rough stones like this. This is too much for it. Sand, maybe, in a sand pit perhaps. Now I've purposefully not looked at bashers or the little LC racing knockoffs like all the WL toys and all the rest of them, all those buggies, because they've been done to death. We've got the old Rolalo thing here as well, so that's fine. I wanted to look at some other stuff that maybe isn't quite so mainstream because it doesn't do so well on videos on YouTube, so you're just not going to see it as much. This is definitely a niche thing, the 1551. Look, this is my least recommended of the 3 things, but if you want to play with Lego inside, yep, look, it might be right. This ain't a strong model. Don't expect it to be. Between this and the 1580, you might look at the Huina 1592. There are a couple of double E models as well. I'm not going to go full construction nerd and buy a bunch of them and compare them because I think it probably won't be useful enough to enough of you to be worth it. Just know this is cheap and cheerful, indoor use only. The rack antelope, the rock antelope. Look, this is a moderate recommend. It's pretty tough. Certainly is durable. I like that it's waterproof, easy to control. I listed the cons, there are only a few of them when I was driving it. For the money, not bad. 50-50. If you're at all helicopter curious, let me recommend the C129 V2, and I'm sure there are some good reviews by regular flying people on the YouTubes. I'd recommend this guy for 45 Australian dollars, and whatever that is in US, like 30 bucks. You can't go wrong. It's quite fun to fly. Now, once you start to get better, you might miss being able to change the pitch of the blades, and you might miss being able to turn the gyro off. Something like the K110S, I think is the one, or the Plus, or something like that. I'll put it in the description. There's one for quite a bit more money than this, 4 times more money than this, that gives you those features. But for what it is, I mean, I got to recommend this guy. So, links in the description for all of them. If you're considering buying them, please do help me out and click those, because some of my contacts, Banggood and Amazon, they'll check the traffic coming through there, and so it helps support the channel. I actually knock back a lot of vehicle offers. I'm getting more and more of them now as my views, like my daily views are like about 3,000 now, and it's starting to grow enough that I'm getting people saying, hey, here's some free stuff. Well, it's not free. You've got to do the work to get the thing done. It's a few hours of work, right? Getting a free thing still pays worse than most jobs. But I actually still knock them back anyway, because I know what I'm trying to do, and that is all this stuff in here. And we've got quite a bit more coming. We need to finish that short course roundup as well. We've got the Tacoma here. I've got a Hyper MTX from Hobeo, and there's a the 1/8 scale buggy as well up in the other office, and a few other short courses as well. All that's coming. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to my excellent, handsome, and intelligent channel members. You guys rock. The names here are those listed in the 3rd tier, but there are 3 tiers, and the cheaper 2 don't get the names. But to all of you guys, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. And to the rest of you, thanks so much for watching this video. I appreciate that too. Throw me a like. I'll catch you next time on RC-TNT. Cheers. Oh, finally. Poor little digger.